Bigger, bolder, faster. Boom, going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum.
Blacklist International. Wow. I know you guys are tired. It's been a long day, but trust me, it was worth it to see these guys. I was downstairs at the gaming room about an hour ago. Wow, you should have seen the crowd of girls that was chasing them up and down the stairs to take pictures with them. They're great. So, Blacklist International, one of the biggest esports teams in Southeastern Asia. I got to give it to you guys. That's a very, very big achievement. Like I've never thought of what it would be to get where you are. All right, so let's start with a few questions here. I'm going to try and find out a little bit more about your thoughts on gaming and how what you guys do could be implemented more into Web3. So, how has technology changed the gaming industry, in your opinion? Don't go all at once.
Okay, I guess to start off, we all know here that in the Philippines, one of the biggest games is Mobile Legends Philippines. And given that this team is predominantly a Mobile Legends playing team, we've seen the impact that it's had to create several communities in the Philippines. So as individuals, they have their own communities with their different forms of content. And also, as one big community supporting the game, we've seen the Blacklist agents, if people are familiar with, and how much they support not only the games that we play professionally as esports players and as an esports organization, but also through the content that we create on social media. So, yeah.
That's awesome. By the way, speaking of content, I think this is the biggest thing that you guys can share with us here, because all Web3 projects are predominantly focused on creating communities and content and utilities for those communities. So how do you guys go around? Like, I saw your communities. Your communities are great. You said you have the biggest Discord channel in the Philippines or in Southeastern Asia?
Right now, as for 2021, we were the most engaged esports organization in Meta.
Wow.
That's for Facebook and so on and so forth. So we were the most engaged.
So how do you build this community? How do you build and sustain the interest? How do you go about building the community and the content that you provide them with?
Well, winning is a very big factor in that.
True.
As you know, for the people here who are supporters of the team, they are the world champions or the current world champions, and they'll be defending that crown this January. So that's one big thing that really brought the eyeballs to Blacklist International. There's a winning culture present in the organization. And then second to that is the fact that they love their communities. So I guess they can share personal anecdotes. But from my perspective, what I've seen is that they really interact with their community members. Sometimes we get to have dinner with them. Sometimes it's more than just that typical photo and video that you saw a while ago.
Yeah.
So I guess some of them can share a little bit more about how they experience their community. Maybe Coach Bon, especially given that Coach Bon was here from the get-go. And he was there when very little people believed in it, and then now he's still here as a champion when many people believed in it.
Wow.
Yeah, we really love to interact with our fans, especially Blacklist agents. It makes our community bigger and bigger, and it makes other fan base transfer into us because they are seeing, hey, this team is winning. There's no toxicity in this community. They are always interacting with their fans or some engagement, and they always setting up some events with our fan base, especially when we are winning. We always set victory parties with our fans, and they really love that. You can see in their face that I will support this team. If they lose, we will still support them. And that's how our community.
Wow, that's great. So, in terms, you're becoming bigger than traditional sports. So do you actually think that esports are going to take over the traditional sports in that industry overall?
For now, I think yes, it can take over this traditional sports. So let me tell you a short story about traditional sport and esports. Once upon a time, there's a boy that is playing, let's say, this traditional sport like basketball. He really loves basketball, but unfortunately, he's not good at it until it comes to the point that his friends doesn't want to play with him anymore. And one day, he tried playing some video games, and in that video games, at the end of the stage of the first level and the second level, it says on the at the end of it, it's saying that you're good, you're very good, your rank is class S. Until it came to the point that he tried some online video games, and he met some friends, and his friends appreciates him, and he always says, his friends always says that, can you always play with us because you're good at this role? However, when the time that he is playing, still playing basketball, his friends is already saying, you suck at it, and we no longer want to play with you. But when he tried these online games, someone appreciates him. Someone gives values to him and recognize him. And the moral of the story is, if you're not good at traditional sports, maybe you can try. There's an option where you can try esports or video games where you might excel at it, and that's the stories.
That's great. That's giving kids the opportunity to be good at something that, they might not be good as you say, at everything traditional, but then there you go. So how do you guys, what is your motivation to, besides winning, obviously, and being the best, what is the motivation behind keeping on gaming day after day, competing? Because I think that, and this is the point where we can take something out of the Web 2 gaming industry and try to implement it into Web 3. This is the reason for me asking this question, is like, what is motivating you? What are the factors that motivate you to keep on gaming? Because as myself, there are other creators here who are creating either games or metaverses. They would really like to know what is the secret sauce in order to put it in their games so people get engaged in them more and more and keep on gaming and using their products, because that's the most important thing. You need to keep people engaged.
I think probably because it's because of the number one is we enjoy the game, but being able to play the game with other players who wants to play the game too is the second thing, and the third thing probably is the competition, because just like traditional sports, everyone loves to compete. Same as traditional sports, they take 10 to 20 years in one sport. Same as esport, you can really practice, improve every day until you reach that goal. For this team, I think even though we are already champions, it's not the limit yet. I think there's still room for improvements. And one thing for that is because the game is also improving. They are putting new things into the game that players can adjust to. Unlike traditional sports, the way it started until it ends, it's the player that's adjusting. Unlike in esports, the game is the one adjusting for the players.
Right, very interesting. Now you mentioned how people in traditional sports prepare and the way that they live in order to sort of be successful at what they do. What does a day of an esports gamer look like? How do you prepare? How do you sort of get in shape for becoming the champions?
I think it's almost the same as how teams prepare in the traditional sports. We also do a whole day training from 2 p.m. to up to 10 p.m. And the advantage of esports, even though after training, they can still play the game and just enjoy it. Unlike if you are playing a traditional sports, when you're already tired, you can't play the game that you want. Unlike here, it's like your hobby, a hobby and your work and your that's your sport.
So the World Championship, how does that look? Do you guys get to like travel all over the world and like meet and greet different people, or is it more focused in?
Yeah, our World Champion Tour was very fun because we get to meet other people from different countries and like experience their culture, foods, and other stuff. It's very fun because in other countries, esports are very big as well. As in like Indonesia, the sports there is very big. Like the people enjoys the game. There's a lot of fans, and the other people are exciting too because their culture is different from ours. Yeah, it's very fun to meet other people from different countries.
Nice. And as a European football supporter, I know how aggressive fans can get sometimes. Do you guys have the same thing happening? Like, do your fans sort of engage in interactions with other fans? How does that look in the e-gaming industry?
It's a digital warfare. It's digital warfare. It really is, and it's very heated amongst Southeast Asia because gaming is a very Asia-dominated market, especially professionally. And the same goes for the rest of the world. Given that gaming, whether it be Web 2 or Web 3, it taps into a global community. It's a global economy, and therefore anybody and everybody has a perspective on it. And in the same way, with traditional sports, you're gonna have your haters. So it may come from even people in your own country, people who support other teams, and so on and so forth. But mostly it happens online, and given that as an organization, we do protect our players from that as well. And they themselves have their own tendencies also. They have the tendency not to look at those comments, to try to avoid those, and focus on work and focus on winning championships.
Nice. So, what is your take? Because you guys are the champions of traditional Web 2 gaming. What is your take personally on things like Axie Infinity? Is that something that you've given a chance, or is that something that none of you have touched upon, or how does that go with you?
At some point, yes, we really enjoyed playing Axie, and I think there are some competitions here in the Philippines where Axie put on in a competitive state of games, and it's a play-to-earn type of game. So we really enjoyed that time when we are still playing Axie, and I think we still want to play NFT or play-to-earn games. That's fun. It is really fun to play. Especially, it don't takes a lot of time, a lot of your time.
Right. Okay. I would like to address anybody, if anybody has a question for the superstars here, to ask them anything about their gaming life. That would be good. If not, I want to thank you for being part of this and giving us your insight on gaming and Web 2 versus Web 3. Do we have a question over there?
Hello. Hi, good evening, everyone. So I'm Dre from Legazpi City. I represent a project, a blockchain project called SparkPoint Technologies. Anyway, it's very far from my field of expertise, but since this is gaming, I have a friend from Legazpi that wants to ask this question to Blacklist International. So the question is, how to join you guys on your team, but are you looking for new members every now and then? And how do you maintain your team that represents the country on different tournaments on Mobile Legend? Thank you. Are there any certain processes?
Okay.
Are you looking for members or anything related to that? Thanks.
For now, we're still not looking for another players because we are still complete. But when the time that we are still recruiting players, like let's say Haji and Oheb, it will undergo into a tryout or some training, and if they passes, that's the time that we will recruit them. But for now, since they are still complete, but maybe when the time comes that some of them already plans to retire, that's the time that we will look out for another player or undergo into a tryout.
So, go ahead.
I guess as for the developing the winning and sustaining the winning culture, it takes a village. For the team itself, they live with one another. We all stay in one house, and each of them plays an integral role into developing that winning culture. And even to our back end staff, people who help manage our social media, people who help in the technical direction of the team, we all chip in to contribute to this winning culture that we have. And to sustain this, again, we just put in all of our effort and our genuine care to these players and to this organization as a whole.
That's very interesting to me because this is what differentiates you guys from traditional sports. I mean, there you have like a family thing going. You live together. This is so it's a lot harder to actually recruit a new member because you have to take him in to the house, take him into the family. So that's why I guess it's so hard to actually go and recruit other members after maybe somebody, as you said, retires. Then you have to look for one, but it's a very difficult process to find somebody that fits in all aspects, not only as a player, but like a person to live with, a person to share everything that you guys are doing and building. That's great. Okay, so thank you very much for being a part of this event. Thank you for answering all my questions. It was a pleasure to meet you guys, and thanks for coming once again.
Philippine Blockchain Week. See you next year.